Yes, welcome again to Wheat Chat. I remember last time that we were together was on 17th of May. Um that was the National Day here in Norway. So it's always the the Independence Day celebration every 17th of May. And I did promise, I could remember then, that we should have a follow-up discussion, kind of a brief discussion on the topic that I will say called patriotism. And because I think that is also because of my personal experience, having lived in a few countries, now in Norway. One of the things I've seen here in Norway, especially among the Norwegians, is that you could see that sense of love, of passion, in them towards their state, towards their country. And I think that is something that is actually good, and which is kind of different from um, my own kind of a personal feeling or perception um, previously towards my own country. And I know that a lot of people might as well be on my own side, being a young person. And one of the things I've also realized is that especially among the young people, uh, I would just say young people from less developed countries or developing countries, you, somehow uh, young people tends to have or show some kind of distrust towards the state or towards um, the leadership of the country, political elite, for instance. For me personally, I seems not to really believe in the leadership or in the political elite. I would say some of the, I would say, disaster decision that have amounted to disaster. Some of the ills that I've experienced, even in my own country. You see the high level of insecurity. People are being killed on daily basis. You see high income gap, or what I would say inequality is on the rise. You see just a few that are extremely rich, um, and these few can be linked to the the rise of poverty in the society. And you see corruption also. You see all sorts of things. So sometimes it's you find it difficult to really uh, uh, show some level of belief or trust in the state. And I'm not saying that because this is one of the, or this is sort of a way that I feel sometimes. But if you kind of take a survey of young people from developing countries, like Nigeria, for instance, you will kind of saying this. Yeah, I mean, you would definitely see that evidence in the life of the people, and people are not. I mean, people don't shy away from demonstrating it. That they don't really care. They don't seem to care of what the states um, or the trajectory or the path that the state are on. And but in recent time, I've been kind of having a rethink, thinking again through it. That is it not um, important that we show some kind of level of responsibility, irrespective of what your state offers you, or irrespective of the level of devastation that you may say, or degradation that you may say, that you tend to experience in your country. Because sometimes it might also be difficult to actually have or realize that level of of expectation that you want for your country. If everyone in the society tends to shy away from that responsibility, and so just look into be looking at some of the world famous leaders, especially those who have people generally believe that they have done well or they are still doing well. And I stumble on some quotes from um, someone like John F. Kennedy, which is one of the famous quotes. I think it's one of the uh, most popular quotes regarding patriotism, which says, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But the fact is that it's not that this is a new quote. It's been there, it's been said over and over. And there are people will often say that, what if you don't even seems to have a sense of belonging towards your country? So how do you tend to show, or how do you tend to give to your country? So people actually argue with that. But one of the things I've also realized is that if possibly you think that your state hasn't been good enough to you, hasn't served you well, and you tend not to care or not to bother, that mind, and you see a good number of people also in that kind of path or with that kind of belief, then it's ordinarily mean that there might not be hope. I mean, there might not be a new country for such states. So, and that is why the word of John F. Kennedy might not really be taken for granted. So, which means that irrespective of what a state or the situation of a state, I think it's important that we all show some level of responsibility towards our state. And because when you see, like I said, uh, uh, some other countries, especially countries that you could see that the people are more kind of patriotic towards their state, people show some kind of level of sense of belonging. People show some kind of good attitude. People tends to speak well and have a very great expectation about their state. Isn't that those states don't have those some of those ills? They do. But the fact is that we just need to uh, have that sense of responsibility as an individual and say, okay, I think on my own part, even if I can't contribute anything, I just need to uh, have a positive expectation towards my state. I think that is what the word of Kennedy simply implies. And there are some of those words also that I will just read through. I might not be able um, uh, to discuss deeply because they are self-explanatory. Here come from Theodore Roosevelt. He said, here's your country. Cherish these natural wonders. Cherish the natural resources. He said, cherish the history, romance as sacred heritage. He said, for your children and your children's children. I think one of the things I pick from this quote is that when we tend to show love, when we try to show positive attitude, when we tend uh, to show concern about the positive expectation of our country, then we are not actually even doing that for ourselves. Okay, we are indirectly doing it even for the children that are yet unborn. So for our children's children, and I think that is actually very inspiring. That alone should actually inspire us to rethink on how we need to be more patriotic, or how we need to be more concerned about our country. So even when our country seems not to be going on the right direction, so we have the right, or we have the responsibility that I will put to show positive attitude, to criticize constructively when we need to speak up when we need to praise the leaders when we need to condemn when we need to condemn. And if we need to protest, if we need to make our anger being felt by the leaders, we need to show that. If we need to be on the sea, we need to show that, because we need to do that in order to indeed see that the trend or the trajectory that we see our country going, it's such that we desire. So Eleanor Roosevelt says, a true patriotism springs from the belief. So it should be kind of a belief, kind of a system. So I think I will link this with uh, when we were giving birth to as a young person. And from the day of 3, 4, or let's say 8, depending on the religion that you uphold, and you are named. You are called Peter, you are called Andrew, that's the name. So, and you grew up to that, and you realize that that is your name. So, and suddenly you believe it, they call you, you answer to the name. I mean, so how? How do you know that is your name? It is because you believe in it. It is because you believe that that is your name. So, and I think we need to come to that level as an individual to see that our own country, which is ours, my own country, which is mine, what do I believe, or how do I see my country in the next future? So how I see my country, I should find a way to work such a way to aid my own personal contribution towards that expectation. So, because we when you see your country as a great, ambitious country, developed country, a country of positivity, and that is what you see about the country, then you tend to do, I mean, that's smallest act of value that you think will move that country to that. And you call it yours. I mean, you own it. And one of the quotes was actually talking about owning a country. He said a man's country is not a certain area of land, of mountains, rivers, and woods, but it's a principle. And patriotism is a loyalty. So when it becomes just the way you are loyal to your own name. So that, I mean, I haven't seen anyone that is showing this loyalty to his or her own name. So you are loyal to your name. They call you by you answer it, and you are proud of it. And of course, sometimes some people change their name. But if you need to change your name, that doesn't change you. So that is it. So even when I've seen also where countries do change the names or change some alphabet in the name, that doesn't change the country. It still remains that country. So I think patriotism is like charity, which begins. I think this is one of the quote that I even found very important. It said the charity begins at home. Because when you look at every society, when you look at a state, when you look at a country, the smallest unit in that state is the family. So, and I think every family needs to also get to that level of understanding that as a unit, we have our own responsibility to believe, to have positive values, to create positive activity, to create positive influence towards promoting, towards influencing the good direction of our country. So, and this is one of the things that is also lacking in, maybe I would say, I mean, it's arguably, maybe I would say in all society of the world, because you will see that the moral values of families are being weighed down, fading away. So family needs to, as a unit, as the smallest unit, needs to see themselves in that box, in that angle, in that small size, and with that smallest size, with that smallest responsibility, because that is where the belief system starts from, even with the children. So you see, like on the National Day celebration, you see the children having the parade. So they start believing in the country right from childhood. So even as a child, right from your home, as a responsible parent, this is one of the things also we are saddled with to do. So from our own unit as a family, and I think the question of patriotism needs to suddenly be queried, suddenly be challenged, so that we know that yes, we are we are showing love, we are showing level of gratitude to our country, and so that we can see that country going to that level that it ought to be. See, freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it, and in every generation. And I think this is one of the quotes also that I think I found very valuable, which is similar to the quote of Barack Obama. We say our Constitution is a remarkable, beautiful gift, or it's really just a piece of parchments. It has no power on its own. We, the people, give it the power. He said, we, the people, give it meaning. We are participation. And with the choices that we made and alliance that we forged. So these two quotes are kind of similar, and it tends to give us more understanding why we just don't need to love, to show gratitude, to show our own contribution, but especially to own it, to own it. Like I gave that illustration with name. So we need to own our own country so that when we see those minute, the smallest thing that are needed to be done in the society, then I mean, something quickens in us, something challenges us and say, okay, I need to do this. And we see those things that are not good, we need to come up, we need to speak against them when there is need to. And you could see that in the recent development in Kenya, for instance, where the people, possibly largely the young people, came together on the streets and they protested against the government policy on financial art because the government decided to increase tax again on the people that are already impoverished. And the people say, no, this is not possible. But initially, the government will not listen. The political elite will not listen. But the people fought through. Of course, more than 20 people died. I heard 22 or 23 people lost their lives. That might be a painful sacrifice because, and that is one of the, that is what this quote is actually alluding to, that freedom is not something that will be given. Okay, it has to be earned. You need to win it. You need to own it. So you say the people who went on the street in Kenya, of course, lives were lost, but possibly maybe it wasn't necessary for those lives to be lost because there was a government that would never listen to peaceful protest. So sometimes some of those changes might really be painful, might not come so easy, but definitely as patriot, as someone who really love the good of their state, of their country, so you just need to forge ahead and push it through on it until it actually goes through, until it appears well, until it serves us well. It might not be serving well, and that is why we need to make sure that it serves us well. We need to push it until it serves us well. And the last one was from Robert Kennedy again. We say few will have the greatness to bend history itself, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events. And in the total of all those acts will be written the history of this generation. Like they say, a tree does not make a forest. But when you have one tree, two trees, and trees and trees, and you have one person, for instance, you have two people, you have a unit of a family and families, and you have from there you have a large society, you have almost everyone in society believe in the true cost, believe in the positive trend of that state. Definitely, that state will forge ahead. So I really think that we just need to have some kind of rethink about patriotism. It's good not to just hear, oh, this person is patriotic, oh, uh, these people are patriotic, but it's good to have that sense of it. It's good to have it as a belief system. It's good to have it as a nature in us. Then when we have it as a nature in us, then it flows easily. I mean, we do things easily that naturally translate to patriotism. So we don't even see ourselves being compelled to do it because it flows in us easily. So, and I think that's where we just need to get to. And I really hope that we one day have a nation full of people that are patriotic, full of people that are passionate, full of people with positive energy towards developing their country, full of people that are not discouraged, full of people that are saying, yes, even as it is, everything doesn't seem good, but we're going to push through. So, and I think this is one of the things that is important for a nation to really develop. Some of the countries that have really developed, that have gone so far, they've fought through, they passed through some of those torment years, some of those terrible years. A state like Nigeria, for instance, which is just about 60 something years old, I would say it's a pretty very young state, but that doesn't mean that we are young and we should just rest on our oars and say, oh, because we are young, then whatever the state feed us is good enough for us. No, we are young, but we need to push our own states. We need to be more um, positive towards the development, the growth of our state. We need to have that collective sense of patriotic attitude. And in doing that, and I think we definitely have a state that we can call ourselves. So I really think that um, we we might have different perspective towards why do I need to be patriotic? Why do I need to show love to my state when I can't really pinpoint on any good thing that have actually benefited me or have actually derived from my country? I mean, different comments, but I really think that it's important that we think through why it's necessary for us to be patriotic. And that is why I expect you to watch and really comment. Let's make some kind of discussion in the comment chat. I mean, express your opinion on what it means to you to be patriotic, on why you need to be, or why you have really changed your attitude towards your country. So let's have that in the chat. And hopefully we will definitely have a better society like we all aspire to. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you again next time. Yeah, bye.